I started blogging actively after the last general elections, March 2008 onwards. I think we realized then that the new media had a significant impact on politics. At first we didn't think that it would have a tremendous impact on the political scenario in Malaysia, but I think especially in the urban areas, a lot of perceptions were molded by the media. So I started after the election. I found that the blog per se, because it's a blog by a government politician, didn't engender or didn't generate as much activity, publicity as I thought it would. But when I started exploring different platforms, different media, which I'm sure you'll go into, different applications, I saw a pickup in activity. So ultimately, when you come from an establishment background, you set up a blog, or previously you set up a website, there's an inbuilt prejudice against that site. So you have to find other ways where you're not regarded as an establishment figure. It's good in terms of good governance because you get more information out, and I think that's the cornerstone of democracy. When you can get more information out quicker, then people are able to decide for themselves. Now the only setback to that, flip side to that, is that you also get a lot of junk, you also get a lot of things that are not true. So it sharpens you, politicians and governments, to respond quicker as well to things that are put out in the internet. So we have to migrate from a mindset of control to one of being responsible, one of engagement. You can't censor the new media. You can't control it. You can't even really guide it. So you must get your arguments out there. I think at first when the new media scene exploded in Malaysia, people just tended to believe whatever was there. I've had first-hand experience of a lot of this myself. But I think now they've become more discerning. You know, they're not willing to accept 100% what they read in the mainstream press, or 100% what they read in the new media. There was a poll done recently to show that a lot of young people still get their news from the mainstream press. A lot more is getting it from the mainstream, from the new media, but a lot are still reading the mainstream press as well. But the level of acceptance and credibility of the mainstream and the new media not far apart. Of course, there's a level of healthy skepticism towards the mainstream media, but I think the skepticism towards a lot of stuff that comes out in new media, I think it's created a sea change in politics, Malaysian politics. I think politicians must not just appear to be, but actually be accessible on the new media. Appearing to be accessible means you have a facade on the internet, a website, a blog. But people are not stupid. Young people are not stupid. They know if you're updating it regularly. They know if you're replying it yourself. They know if you get an assistant to write the tweets out. You know, they know this. Experimented with new applications. Some of them work, some of them don't. Sometimes I've used it most recently to ask my online constituents for ideas on the parliamentary session, what issues they want me to raise in parliament, and that was quite a hit because a lot of people sort of wrote in with ideas. So that was my first experiment in trying to organize the online constituents into something concrete, coming up with ideas and proposals to bring to parliament. Well, I think you have to be more succinct, more concise. I think Malaysian politicians have a tendency to over-elaborate and to be very, verbose. I think new media disciplines you to be to the point. I don't think all these social networking sites completely replace traditional face-to-face social interaction. I think that's never been in question. But it has added a new dimension because because you reach out to people who you can't see or you can't meet with. And it's created a level of trust, between politicians and citizens who follow and who have genuinely created a level of comfort between them. If there are moves to curb the new media, I think it will be foolhardy, I think it will be silly, and I think it will be counterproductive. And I think if you operate in a pre-internet mindset, maybe that's what you will do. But I think personally, I think that would be the worst thing that could happen. I think former PM Labdawi also admitted as such after the general election that we didn't take the media seriously, and I think it was a strategic error. I think it's a good approach. He also has a storefront on the internet. He has a website, he has a blog, he has Twitter, he has a YouTube channel, his Twitter channel. His presence is there. So I think it's a good start, and I hope that his engagement with the new media continues, and I hope that people are able to appreciate the sort of efforts that he is taking in relation to somebody told me that Malaysia has the largest number of blogs per capita. I don't know if it's true or not, but it certainly appears that way. I think one reason for this is because people were just looking for alternative channels of expression. We went through decades of mainstream media that appeared to be guided, and I think people thought, let's create our own news, let's get our own stuff out there. And I think because of that, so this pent up demand for news and demand to get things out there, people started doing it, and it just proliferated exponentially. So I think that's the reason why Malaysia is ahead of the curve. I don't know with Australia, but maybe in some other countries definitely Malaysia is ahead of the curve. Recently, we had a new media practitioner come in from the US. He was heavily involved on the last presidential elections, and based on the questions that he got from the floor, he said, wow, you guys are speaking a language that even people in Washington aren't speaking. So I think we're quite advanced.